it's humans taking too much power for themselves and using the folk because they can for more power. So the government, basically. Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and we're at the start of another weekly reading vlog. The first weekly reading vlog of 2024, but actually you would have seen last week's vlog, which was the last little bit of December. But for me, this is the 1st of January, we're at the start of the year, and I'm really excited. I feel really positive about this year, which is great. It's definitely what I needed. If you saw last week's video, you'd saw the preparation and things I was doing to make my headspace just be a little bit better and more positive for this year. I'm really pleased with the things that I did for that and will be continuing to do so. So the start of this video, I want to take down the decorations. I want to just kind of reset everything. I need to finish up the 2023 reading journal, just put in all the last books that I read, the last loose ends of 2023. I would like to do that this morning before I go to work. I say this morning, but actually it is almost this afternoon. It is 8 minutes to 12 o'clock in the afternoon, or 11:52, said that in a weird way. I did wake up rather late. I was working late last night and I then just slept in this morning, which was very much needed. But right, you're here for the reading content. Most likely, although a lot of you are saying that you do like the lifestyle stuffs more, so we are going to be reading some books. And the books that I will be reading for this weekly vlog, there's a couple physical books that I'm in between and I haven't fully decided which one I'm going to go ahead with. And then I also have an ebook that I'm in the middle of. So I did start Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross last week. Really enjoying this. This is the last book in the duology that started with Divine Rivals. I am about 50% of the way through. I'm on like chapter 28 and it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. This will not be any spoilers about this book because it is the last in a duology. Lots of people are very excited for it. I think I prefer the first book that little bit more. Basically, for those of you that don't know, Divine Rivals was a massively popular book that came out in 2023. I mean, technically Ruthless Vows also came out in 2023, but anyway, really popular book. It's been around an awful lot, but for those of you that don't know what it's about, it is basically a historical fantasy romance. Sort of. The fantasy elements are really small. It's definitely more of a historical wartime love story. You have these two people, Iris and Roman, who both work at the same like newspaper, and they're both competing for the job opening of a columnist, moving on from that word, but there's only one job available, so they are rivals. And in their workplace, they also come from very different backgrounds. Things happen where they end up getting caught up in this war that's going on an awful lot more than what they were. The war that is going on is kind of based on one of our world wars. I do look it up, but I've heard some people say World War One and some people say World War Two. I'm not exactly sure. It's based on one of them. The fantasy elements is the fact that this war is because of a god and a goddess that are fighting against each other and then using humans to fight their war for them. And that's basically the premise of it. It is really lovely. It's a rivals to lovers story. It's really cute. I love their interaction. I really like how realistic the war feels in terms of dealing with the aftermath of being injured from the war. Also that feeling of kind of urgency to things and not wanting to take your time with things because you don't know if you're going to make it through to the next day. There's lots of that going on, so I really enjoyed it. It's definitely more wartime romance than fantasy, although in the second book the fantasy elements are getting explored a little bit more because we're learning a bit more about the gods. The way this is set up is that in this world, it's like our world but it's alternate reality. They don't know much about their gods and goddesses, like it's been a bit prohibited to learn, so they don't know much, so you're learning as you go. And then the other magical thing that's in this book is these typewriters that are connected to each other, so Iris and Roman can communicate over vast expanses of distance through these typewriters. Do plan on finishing that this week. And then I've got a couple of physical books that I'd like to read. One is on my TBR for the month, and one I spoke about in my reset video for something lighter and more fun. So we have Only a Monster by Vanessa Len. This is a YA fantasy, which is why I don't know whether I'm going to start with this one. I might finish Ruthless Vows first and then start with this one. We're following a monster's perspective, or like monster. So you have heroes and monsters, and our main character is one of the monsters. really intrigued. I feel like this is going to be more enemies to lovers, so it's why I'm thinking, actually, yeah, you know what, let's finish Ruthless Vows and then we'll start this towards the end of the week. It's just over 300 pages long, so I feel like I could potentially finish it. We'll see. It depends how much reading I manage to get done this week. If not, then I can at least start it. But yeah, so I do want to read this one. And then the book that I spoke about in my reset video is This Charming Man by C.K. McDonald, because I decided I really wanted something lighter and fun to read for the month. And this one is quite funny. It's like a paranormal mystery humorous book. It is really good. The first book is The Stranger Times, and I enjoyed reading that one. It is set, is it in whereabouts? I know this one is set in Manchester. I can't remember where Stranger Times is set. I'll see. This is again about a newspaper that is called The Stranger Times that report on everything paranormal that lots of people don't think are actually real, like aliens and stuff. But what if they are real? And it's really funny. You're following a main character who is down on her luck, really needs a job, gets this job at this newspaper company, and things go from there. It is really funny. The humour in it is ridiculous, and it's my kind of humour. I'm really excited about this one. This one is all about vampires, as we can tell. And what I really like about these covers is they are filled with little tidbits from the actual book, so I have a lot of fun in finding things and being like, oh, that relates back to this. And because like this here, you've got a tiny little figure in this bit here, or you've got a lorry, we have a graveyard here. So it's like lots of like little things that I am just really enjoying. Like this one, we have a toilet fall in. Like it just, I love it. I love the cover of this. I think it's really good. So yeah, I'm really excited to get back into this world. It's just really funny and silly. This one is just over 500 pages long, so we'll see what happens here. But we're following a group of people at the Strange Times, which is a great cast of characters. I really do enjoy them, and like their banter and the way they just work with each other is really good. And they get called out to Manchester to deal with some vampires. There is a lot that goes on in the Strange Times, but you know what, I think I'll go into that more when I've actually read some of this, because it has been a little while since I've read the Strange Times, and while I remember the plot line and everything that happened, there are obviously finer things. Like there's things to do with folk, and there's this whole like almost government type setup which they call the Founders, which is basically just like a magical government for magical and paranormal creatures, and so they all get involved towards the end of the book and everything. It's really good. It's really, really funny. If you want a more funny book that's still got a mystery to it, give it a try. So yeah, I think I'm going to start off with this one, just so that way it's different to the ebook I'm reading, and then once I finish Ruthless Vows, I'll start this. So that's the plan. We'll see whether I actually get all of this read this week. I don't know. Last week I read one 200-page book, so we're gonna see what I actually get read. Fingers crossed we can get a good chunk of this done, but we'll see. But for now, let's start taking down all of these decorations and just tidying up my space, ready for the start of the year. Obviously, we are technically 12 hours into the start of the year, but let's get on and do it. I hope you all had a lovely New Year's and had a good, by the time this comes out, first week of January. Let me know, what did you start off 2024 reading? Let's get cracking and tidying. morning. It's another dreary, overcast day here in England. I don't know why I've been feeling like updating you with how the weather is here. It's so dismal. It has been cloudy and rainy for like the past how many weeks now? So miserable. That's not what you're here for. You're not actually here for the weather. We're here for books. And I haven't read any more of Ruthless Vows. I'm not sure if I'm feeling this book, and I feel really, really bad to say that. Divine Rivals I absolutely loved. But this book, as much as I'm enjoying being back with the characters, I'm finding it really, really slow and drawn out, and I know where this book is going to go. After you've read so many books, you get an inkling of how it's going to go, and I feel like there's nothing surprising in this for me. I expected all the things that are happening to have happened. I don't know. I am going to be reading more of it today at work on my lunch break, and I think I'm going to use that to decide what I'm going to do with this book, whether I'm going to put it down, whether I'm going to continue. I mean, I could say all this and then I could have a really good reading day yet again, because I had an amazing one yesterday, and finish the damn thing. But I don't know. I mean, I loved the first book, and I want to get the US covers of these books, so I will definitely be getting the first one because I thought it was really good. I do want it for my shelves. But this second one, I don't know. And you did need the second book because of the way the first book ended. But I also feel like this book could have been a bit shorter. We'll see how it goes. I read a couple of pages, but I wasn't really feeling it. And I don't know, I feel like me with continuing on with series, I don't know whether it's the time frame or whether for me to continue a series, I need to really, really love it and really be in the mood for it, because the same thing happened with the Rook and the Rose trilogy. I reread the first one, loved it. Read the second one, loved it even more. Went to read the third one the next month and DNF'd it. Like, I just was not feeling it anymore because I was like, well, I know where this is going to go, and it's taken a really long time to get there. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just really fussy and particular with how a series finale wraps up. I don't know. I'm not 100% feeling it. But like I say, I do want to give it a try today at work on my lunch break again. So we'll see if I manage to read a bit more and how I feel about it, or whether I'm going to put it down and whether it's just going to be, you know what, we'll do a light DNF for now and pick it back up when I'm in the mood for that sort of book. But yeah, I don't know. Do you ever get that? Do you ever find that you start reading a book and you're like, actually, no, I'm really not in the mood to continue with this series? I don't know where I'm going with that thought, but let me have a bit more of this and put it down, and we can talk about the book that I actually read quite a bit of yesterday and loved. So I read This Charming Man yesterday, and oh, this is so good. So I got up to chapter 24, page 196. I'm actually impressed with how much I read, and I read so much of this just in one chunk. It was actually unreal. I had to end up making notes to remind myself, okay, we need to talk about these things, because I read so much of it in one go, and it's not like I was doing a readathon yesterday where I could just pick up the camera and let you know, oh, this is what I think at this point. So I kind of had to stop myself. I was like, no, I don't want to read that much more because I am going to start forgetting all these different things that I want to talk about. This is great. I clearly am enjoying it because I read so much so quickly yesterday. I was not bored, and I had to force myself to put the book down, to be quite honest. It's just so much fun. So a couple of things that I wanted to talk about is location of this book. It's set in Manchester. The Stranger Times offices is actually in Manchester. I don't know, I get confused by this because it says that the offices are a short walk from Piccadilly, which is in central London, unless they have one in Manchester. I don't know, I've never been to Manchester, but it takes place in Manchester. The first book they move around a lot more. In this book they aren't, they're actually staying where they are. There's also lots of perspectives within this book, which I'm really enjoying. It was something that you start off with Hannah in both books, who is the person that's going through the divorce and needs the job at the Stranger Times, and then you start getting introduced to other characters, and as you get introduced to them you start getting their perspectives. Same thing happens here. You get a prologue that introduces what the concept of this book is going to be about, and then we start off with Hannah, and then we start jumping around to different perspectives. I think it works really well though, because each character has their own idiosyncrasies that make them feel so different, and so when you are in their head it's easy enough to follow, and I do enjoy that. Plus it changes perspective with the chapter. It's not halfway through a chapter or anything like that, so I think it's actually quite easy to follow who you're following. We also have the start of this book being a bit of a recap for the Stranger Times, so if you haven't read the Stranger Times like soon before picking this book up, you can have a bit of time between the two and not necessarily reread it if you don't want to. This does a really good job of just recapping the events that all happened in the Stranger Times, the different things that are going on, and even as we go through the book, so like the first, I would say 4 chapters are a bit more focused on slowly progressing this story and kind of setting it up, but also reflecting back on the Strange Times, the first book. But then as you move through, you do get little tidbits here and there of some of the smaller things that happened in the Stranger Times for you to continue on with and be like, this is still a potential plotline thread that we're going to do, but it's a subplot, it's not anything major. I'm enjoying it. I think it works really, really well. The humour in this is fantastic. I only had one joke in here which I noticed that was repeated almost word for word within a short space of time, but other than that, I really enjoyed it. It is my type of humour. It is really funny and sarcastic, and I just love it. I think it is so much fun. And the focus of this is on vampires. Now, as I said, I'm not going to get into spoilers, but this book does talk about vampires and their impact on our culture, what they represent, and how they have changed within books and films, TV shows over the years. Because you do have a character in here who was actually doing a thesis all about vampires and the way they have been portrayed in media. So I am enjoying that. I think it's really interesting and really fun. And we do have more of the expansion from the first book around the folk and the kind of like government thing that's around that. Again, it's not actually a government thing, but it's humans taking too much power for themselves and using the folk because they can for more power. So the government, basically. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. This is really silly and really fun. Tongue-in-cheek humour is probably the best way to describe it. It is very ridiculous, but it's so readable. It's so easy to read. And even though this honestly is kind of small writing, like that is quite small, I'm still really enjoying it and I'm still flying through it. Like normally with that sort of font size, I would be crying inside and being like, but why are you so tiny? This is good. It's worth it. I really am enjoying it. It is so much fun. And the only reason why I say about font size is because it means that even though this book is almost 500 pages long, with that font size, if that font size was enlarged just a little bit to make it easier to read and a bit softer on your eyes, this book would also probably be an extra like 40 pages long. So that's why I always make a comment about it. This is so much fun. I'm really enjoying it. I do want to read more, but like I say, I want to focus on Ruthless Vows and make up my mind about whether I'm going to continue on with that one. And then I've got this one. I might read a little bit before work. It's just so much fun. It's so good and I do just want to get straight into it. However, I need to edit. I need to do a couple things this morning before I read anymore. I am enjoying the different things that are happening and then finding the little images on the front. Like I know I mentioned that already, but it's just so good. It's not often you get a book cover that works so well with what's going on inside the book. Like you could definitely tell cover artist read the book because all of these little art things relate to the book, and I love that. I think it works really well. So yeah, this is really good. Highly recommend the Strange Times series if you want something that is just a bit funny, a bit humorous, but there's still a plot line going on. It works. Like I said, I do have a few things to do, editing and bits to do, so I'm going to do that. We did have a very productive day yesterday, so I did take down all my decorations. I got my journals all wrapped up for 2023 and started and made sure like finalised all the little things for 2024. I'm really excited with that. Let's get on with this day. Good afternoon. Let's just pop you over here. Let's use this bookshelf I got recently. That works, cool, lovely. Just started up my laptop because this afternoon I wasn't actually planning on updating. This lighting's awful as well, but never mind. I'm going to be editing a video I just filmed, which is the December read and wrap up, and then I am heading off to the gym with my partner because this year, if you saw last week's reading vlog, it was all about like setting goals, doing a vision board and everything, and part of that is fitness, getting better at fitness. Yeah, so my partner has this gym membership where he can take a friend 4 times a month. Why not try it out? So he's finishing work, I'm meeting him at the gym about 3:30 and we're gonna give it a try, and if I like it I'll get my own gym membership so I can go a bit more and maybe like after work a few times and stuff. So I'm really excited for it, but the reason why I came to update is because I did finish Ruthless Vows yesterday. This was okay. I definitely think the middle was really slow, and I feel like in a way I kind of wanted it to be a bit faster. I mean, it's one of those weird ones because the pacing did work for the story and I did like it, but I also found it a bit too slow. I haven't quite made up my mind on that. The ending, however, the things that were happening was really good, really heartfelt in places, and I do think it was worth it. I think I just loved Divine Rivals, and that's always going to be a hard one to keep. It's a slightly cloudy, sunny day here in England, so the lighting is a mess. But yeah, so I feel like it was never gonna live up completely to what I wanted, but I'm pleased I finished it. So I did get that done, so that was good. The thing that I didn't like is the very ending of the book. We had 3 months later, we had like a year later, and then we had an actual epilogue, and I was like, that's too much. I don't need that. The lead up, the twists and turns that it was taken was pretty good, and I did enjoy that. And like I say, some of the heartfelt things that happened was sad, but also kind of expected. So that's that one. Oh, and I did read more of The Charming Man today. I was having a bit of lunch after filming because I was absolutely starving. So then we'll get to editing. But I got up to chapter 32, page 268, and I'm still really loving this. It's a really good book. I find it really funny and interesting. And we're just trying to follow these different characters as they're trying to work out what is going on with these vampires, what's causing it, what's actually behind it. So that's what I like about these. They are like an investigation, but make it funny and paranormal, and it just works. Loving this, loving the humour. I'm gonna take this with me, as well as, actually, let me get it, it's behind you. Dead Man Wonderland, volume 3. This is also on my TBR for the month. Because I'm going to my partner's, we're gonna go gym, and then I'm staying at his today, and we're spending tomorrow together. I feel like this is a good time to bring this, because we're reading this together. This is our buddy read, which has taken months. So I'm gonna hopefully read and finish this. We're actually almost halfway through. We're actually over halfway through. I've only got this little bit, so I might take volume 4 as well and just get this done, because we're going to Ashford tomorrow, to the shopping outlet there. So we're going to have like an hour on the train. So I feel like that would be good. And then I'll also bring This Charming Man to read this evening. And we'll just see. Fingers crossed I'll make progress in this, and we might even get the manga finished. So that would be really good. That's everything that I wanted to update you on in this very impromptu update. But yeah, okay, so the next clip, hopefully you see, is a bit of B-roll at the gym. I'm kind of excited, kind of nervous. It's been so many years since I've been to the gym. I do a lot of like at-home stuff instead, which I've said to my partner, because he goes to gym a lot more than I do. So he's going to be helping me with what I want to achieve, and the first bit I want to do is just start off with a mixture of yoga and Pilates, floor work, and add in like light baby weights. I think he got me some baby weights, which is great. So we'll add in those, and then maybe do like half hour of cardio. We'll see. I don't know how busy it's going to be at this time either, so I guess it depends what it's going to be like, but I'm going to go off, do the editing, and go to gym and do all of that, and I will catch up with you probably Friday after work, because by the time I get back tomorrow, I'm going to need to get ready for work, because I'm on the early shifts Friday, so it'll probably be Friday after work. I'm not sure what ebook I'm starting next. I'm thinking, again, let me get behind you, the smart option is to go with Boy Parts by Eliza Clark, because I actually have this on Kindle Unlimited, and I've had it on Kindle Unlimited for a ridiculous amount of months now, to the point where I don't think it's available on Kindle Unlimited anymore, but because I downloaded it while it was available, I can still read it. I feel like that's actually the smart thing, because this is on my TBR. I've been meaning to read this for so many months, and it's not even that long. It's like just under 300 pages. So I feel like that should be the next ebook I start. We'll see. We'll see. So yeah, okay, now I am actually gonna go. I have got back from work about 25 minutes ago, and it's been a good couple of days off. Actually, I'm not gonna lie, let's start with the days off. I did go to gym on the Wednesday, and it was really good actually. I really enjoyed it with my partner. I didn't do loads, like, let's face it, I'm weak as hell. It was really fun to go, and I don't know, I really enjoyed it. Like, I've tried gym before and I've just never got into it, but this time it just seemed to work. And while I couldn't do the cross trainer thing for very long. It was still really fun. And I did do like more of the floor work because obviously I do yoga and Pilates and stuff at home. So I did start it off with all of that and just added in some weights to it. And it was really fun. I'm really pleased that I've done it and we started all of that. Like, it was really good. Oh, and while I was with my partner for the last couple of days, we did get through the rest of volume 3 because we'd already started it, and volume 4 of Dead Man Wonderland. And this was really good. Really enjoyed it. So this is a prison in Tokyo, and this prison is privately owned, and they host like shows for people to watch that brings money back into Tokyo. Unfortunately, the person that we're following, he's actually been wrongfully imprisoned of a crime he did not commit, and the prison is a lot darker than what it seems. These games that they put on for the amusement of others, yeah, they're actually deadly. People actually do die in these games, and we find out there's a whole thing going on behind the scenes. It's really good. I really enjoy it. It's very bloody and all over the place. Hermione, please don't. You're not going in the cupboard. No. She loves to go in my wardrobe. Problem is, she then likes to scratch all my clothes, so it's not allowed. But yeah, so things are really deadly. Oh, and I was going to say, my camera's doing that face thing again where it keeps jolting. I don't know why it does it. It's weird. But yeah, this is really good. Very dark, very bloody, but I'm enjoying it. I just find that the slightly darker, not too dark manga seems to really work for me. So like, I really enjoyed Tokyo Ghoul, although I still need to read the final volume of that, and reading Dead Man's Wonderland. Like, I enjoy these sort of ones, and it just seems to work for me. So yeah, so read those, really pleased that we got that done. I did read a little bit of This Charming Man, not loads. Hey, don't lay on my crisps. Go. I got to chapter 35. And, you know, it's same as before. Like, I'm enjoying it. It's fun. I didn't read loads. I do plan on reading more of this evening, and I should get this finished by the end of the week. I think I was a bit overambitious with being able to finish this and also start Only a Monster. So that's not going to happen. Hermione, look at this cat. She is being a problem. Hermione, stop it. Well, if you hear lots of weird banging and scratching and stuff, it's the cat. She's having fun. But yeah, so I plan on reading more of this evening. I'm not going to be able to start Only a Monster, so that's going to be pushed back to next week. Although there is a book I really wanted to read next week, and I'd been planning for next week. And that one, I'm not going to change that. I really want to read it, and I know it's going to go well with my early shifts. So we'll see if I can squeeze in Only a Monster then. If not, it'll be a bit later, but yeah, I'm really pleased with this. I'm enjoying it. I was definitely over-ambitious with what I wanted to read this week. I have started the ebook for Boy Parts. I'm not sure where I got up to, actually. I'm actually further in than I thought. Oh, yes. Okay, so I'm up to chapter Freshers, page 97. It's okay. It's not really my cup of tea. We're following a main character, Irina, and she's an art major. Like, she's done art at university, specialises in more erotic art and taken photographs of people in explicit positions and stuff, but she works at a bar, and then something happens where she's got leave from work for like 6 weeks, and she gets this offer to work for a gallery. We're seeing her life, her friendship that seems really toxic, and there's just lots of like drugs and alcohol in this, which is fine, but I'm not really interested in any of that. It's very visceral as well. This is a very visceral book. So if you are squeamish about people throwing up, yeah, then don't read this because there's a lot of that in this. It's fine. Like, it's an easy, fast read. It does not take much concentration. There are trigger warnings. It does dabble in some darker topics such as grooming, but it's just not quite landing for me. And I think that's just because of all the drugs part of it. Like, it's just not something I'm ever interested in, to be honest. But I'm intrigued enough to carry on with the ebook and just see where it's going. Hermione, what is with you today? It's fine. It's an easy read, and on my early shifts, that's what I want when I'm at work on an early shift, because I'm tired, because I've woke up at like 5:30 in the morning, so I want something easy to read. So that's fulfilling that, which is great at work. Like I say, this evening I'm going to read more of This Charming Man, which again is not like a complex read. It's just a really fun, chill time. So this evening I am going to have a shower, sort out my cat, because she's going crazy. I think she's clearly got energy to use up. And then I'm going to cook some food, do a tiny bit of editing, and then get to reading and just chill. And that's what it's going to be. But yeah, I'm really pleased with this week. I'm really pleased with Jim. I feel really happy. And like I mentioned, I don't know if you saw last week's vlog, but I mentioned in last week's vlog that I really want to sort out just like my mental state and just being a bit happier, and gym really helped. I was surprised. I wasn't expecting to. I was doing that more just for like my personal being a bit stronger, because I lift ramps and things at work which are really freaking heavy, which I haven't done for a while because of my back, but the physiotherapist said you need to get stronger, like you're weak, and that's why you messed up your back. So that's the only reason why I was doing it, but actually I really enjoyed it and I feel really good. So I think I'm gonna do that more, even after like physio says okay you can stop. Like I think I'm gonna carry on because it's really good. Anyway, right, I'm rambling. I'm gonna go have a shower, do some food, and I'll check back in with you probably when I've finished this Charming Man. Probably then, because all the updates for this are just, it's really funny, which it is, and it's a great time, but I'm sure you're gonna probably get bored of that. I have finished 2 books since I last updated, and I did forget to film the macaroni cheese cooking part, which was really frustrating because I've been saving that recipe. I found it on Instagram Reels. I just thought it looked so tasty. I love macaroni cheese, so I'm always looking for different ways to do it, and this one had a boursin base, and I love boursin cheese. Like, it is so tasty. So I just thought, you know what, let's give this a try. Very simple recipe. I'm sorry I forgot to film all the bits going into it, but it was boursin, a tiny bit of cream, and then a different type of cheese, like kind of to your preference really, and then that was it. It was really bland, like so bland. I couldn't believe how bland this was. I was expecting it to be really nice, cheesy, creamy, and it just really didn't taste of much. I don't know if I messed up the recipe, but based on those few ingredients, like I don't think I would have, but it just didn't work. So I added in some black pepper, a little bit of mustard, which helped a little bit, but it just didn't quite give me that oomph that I wanted. And I don't know if that's just because I wasn't in the mood for macaroni cheese, which I'm always in the mood for that because I love that, or whether it was just because I wanted a different, maybe I should have used a stronger cheddar, because I did only add a bit of mozzarella, which made it so that the cheese pool was absolutely amazing. But we have to admit, mozzarella doesn't have the strongest cheese taste, so I think it was just the fact that all I had on hand was mozzarella to add to this, and I feel like if you'd had a stronger cheese, maybe that would have worked a bit better. But yeah, I completely forgot. I remembered the cheese pool part. By this point, I had realised that I don't have my tripod with me and that I was meant to have filmed this and I totally forgot. And I was like, well, at least I can show you the cheese pool, because honestly, that was gorgeous. Didn't quite work out, but never mind. We live and we learn. But the 2 books that I have finished, well, one of them, honestly, kind of the macaroni cheese. It just wasn't that good. And that's Boy Parts by Liza Clark. I really just didn't enjoy this book at all. Don't get me wrong, it was a very quick, easy read. Like, it was so simple. The writing style was very easy to read. Like, it was so kind of, I don't want to say simple, but it was just so easy to digest. Like, it just worked. The actual plot line in this, non-existent. Didn't really see the point of it. It just kind of stopped at the end, like, and I was like, oh, I thought we were leading to something and we just didn't really get there. And I don't know, just everything about this book just didn't really work for me, which is such a shame. I really wanted to enjoy this book so much more than I did, especially, I mean, to be honest, mainly because of the hype. Like, that's the reason why I bought this book, is because of all the hype that was around it. It just fell flat. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know our main character is not meant to be likable. That is the whole point of her, is that she's not meant to be a likable character, but it just didn't work. Like, this person, Irina, she is just a horrible person. She is manipulative and abusive and has zero self-control, and it's just horrible. I just really didn't enjoy this. And I know that's the point, like, you're not meant to like her, you're not meant to find her relatable and stuff, and I get that. And there is a lot of things that this book calls out in society, which I understand. But also, that's been done so much better in so many other books. Like, any book you pick up, 9 times out of 10 is going to have a little bit of social commentary in there. Regardless of what genre it is, there will be a little bit that you could pull from it if you wanted to. And it just feels like this book was just a mess. Like, the character was a mess, the plot was non-existent. You can't trust anything she says, so you cannot trust the narrative at all, which normally, I don't mind that in a book. I'm normally quite interested and invested in that because I like the fact that we have an unreliable narrator, but in this, it was just so
frustrating, and I just got so fed up with it all. And she just believes herself to be this person who should be so much more entitled to things, and she's not getting the recognition she deserves and all of this stuff. I just don't understand. Like, you have friends around you, but you treat them like crap, and then you complain when they pull away from you. And it's just, I didn't like it. I did not enjoy this book. So this is going to be an unhaul. I didn't like this book. And yeah, I just don't know. I mean, obviously everyone reads books and they get different things out of it. So I'm not saying that the people who like this book, oh, they don't know what they're talking about, because obviously they've liked different aspects of this book and just found things in it. But for me, I didn't enjoy this book and it just didn't work. Which, you know what, at least I got it off my shelves. Like, it's been sat here for a long time now, so at least I got it read. But yeah, it is a bit of a shame. It doesn't make me hesitant to read Penance though, because I do have Penance by the same author, but because they're different books and there's different vibes, like Penance is more of like a murder that's happened and we're like piecing everything together, so I feel like I would prefer that one more, and a lot of people I trust who have read that have enjoyed it. So maybe it's just the type of this book that I just didn't enjoy, but it didn't work, but never mind. I did also finish This Charming Man by C.K. McDonald. I'm really happy that I finished this book. It was so good. I really enjoyed it, and I know I've said that a lot. I know I've said that this book is good and it's funny, and I've said that so many times, but this book you can really start seeing that there is this overarching plot that is happening, which I really enjoy in these books. You can see these as kind of like self-contained mysteries that kind of go on that the Stranger Times reporter team get mixed up in. And each book tackles something slightly different, and you can just see it as that, which I do enjoy, and it is really good fun. But you can also see the teasings of this larger plot, which is going to be expanded upon in the later books. Like, the third book is out, I have that. I think the fourth book, that might be out by now. I don't know. It's either out or it's coming out soon. It's an easy book to read, so like on my early shifts it's really easy to read because you don't need to focus loads on it, but like I say, you do have that deeper plot line going on. It just worked. I think it was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. There was different bits of like social commentaries. As I said with Boy Parts, like social commentary is a common thing, and you actually have kind of similar in the way that women are treated in This Charming Man, but it's just done better in my opinion. I will say the actual mystery side of this and the reasons going on around all the vampires and stuff, I solved. Like, this wasn't surprising to me. It's not a book where it has loads of twists and turns. At the same time, I don't think it's really meant to be though. We're not meant to be trying to solve this and having a whole case that we're trying to piece together. It's not meant to be like that. This was just really good. I really enjoyed it. So I've also finished that over the last couple of days, which is great. Which does mean that this week we've actually finished quite a few books. So we started off with finishing Ruthless Vows, which the longer I've sat with it, it's just kind of forgettable. Divine Rivals was really good. Ruthless Vows just didn't really work for me. Like, it's not bad at all. I still like it. I still like our characters. It's just very drawn out and very slow, and I feel like there could have been parts cut out of it, but it was a good book. I also read volume 3 and volume 4 of Dead Man's Wonderland with my partner. I mean, it's a gory time, but I do enjoy this manga. It's really fun, and I like the fact that we finish a volume and then we discuss it between each other about whether we thought it was good, what we thought like could have changed slightly, whether things were drawn out. I will say the start of volume 3 was a bit slow and drawn out. You were just getting the backstory of another character that you'd met, and so that was a little bit slow, but in volume 4 you start getting more of a build up of plot, which I'm really enjoying and looking forward to seeing where this series is going to go. And then, like I said, I finished Boy Parts and This Charming Man, which, you know what, This Charming Man has been the best week of January so far, considering that this is the first full week of January. This book is the one that has won for the best book I have read this week. It was good. I do recommend this series if you are looking for something that is just a bit fun and a bit lighter to read. But okay, that is me done for this week. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. As always, let me know if you've read any of these books and what you've been reading, what you've been up to. And yeah, okay, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna do a rambly outro for once. I am just gonna move on, mainly because I'm hungry and I still need to start next week's vlog, which I would like to start straight away, and then I can get on with cooking, and this time I'll remember to film it, we say, hopefully. I mean, to be fair, I'm normally really good at remembering to film what I cook. It's just, yeah, this week didn't really happen, but never mind. I said I wouldn't ramble and I'm rambling, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I know this bit is a bit darker, but I couldn't be bothered to put the big light on. I'm really enjoying the vibe of having like lots of candles instead. It just feels so nice and cozy. Right, I'm still rambling. Okay, well, why don't we put a candle in the comments below if you've made it this far, or if you just don't know what to write, you can leave a candle below and I will disappear now. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please do consider giving it that thumbs up, subscribing, commenting. All those things really help this channel grow. My social media links and anyone I've mentioned will be linked below, and I will of course catch you in the very next video.